don't know how you could be fed all that slop from the FBI when it came to the Epstein stuff, and then just like, but they're definitely telling us the truth for the Charlie Kirk stuff. Here is a list of the terms that appeared on Google Trends prior to September 10th in clusters. When did conspiracy even become like a slur? You know, conspiracy just means an organized lie, right? Let's translate what you're saying. When you say not to be a conspiracy theorist, but what you're saying is not to believe that people can lie in an organized way. See how stupid you sound when you actually break it down? Welcome back to the Blaire White Project podcast. As you can see, I am in my Halloween costume today because, as you know, it is Halloween weekend. If you can guess or if you know who I am without me having to say it, points for you. But I am, in fact, Megan Fox from Jennifer's Body, the iconic cheerleader outfit. Let me show you. I feel like it's super cute. And unlike the real Megan Fox, this is not real blood. Y'all know she's a witch like that, right? This isn't about her, but I did just realize she does that for real. That's sick. But moving on, we have a jam-packed show today. We have some Charlie Kirk shooter conspiracy evidence, which is really insane. We have Lily Tino returning from the depths of Hades to pester us. We have fatfluencers canceling ex-fatfluencers for daring to lose weight, which is hilarious. And we have some JK Rowling stuff, so let's jump into it. Admittedly, it feels a little weird to talk about the Charlie Kirk one with this costume, but so people are discovering through Google Trends that in July and in the days leading up to Charlie Kirk's assassination, a cluster of searches were made in Washington, D.C., Israel, and Huntsville, Alabama, which is a huge FBI hub. If you don't know, now you know. Here is a list of the terms that appeared on Google Trends prior to September 10th in clusters. Remember, together, not separate, not random. Tyler James Robinson, his full name. N888KG, which is the airplane. Lucy Center, which is the rooftop where the shooter allegedly was. Mauser 98, which is the alleged gun that was used, which is apparently a very rare gun that is untraceable. Apparently an older type of weapon, very like classic political assassination type firearm. The hospital he was taken to after the shooting, the medical examiner that was on the case, the alleged doctor Stephen Nealman, Robert Patterson, Lee Trotter, Lee Patterson, all doctors that worked on the case. So do you ever catch yourself reaching for something out of pure habit, whether you're stressed, bored, overworked, whatever the case may be? Yeah, same. And that's why I tried Fume, which is genius, and I'm never going back. Today's video is sponsored by Fume, and no, it is not a vape, it is not a nicotine product, and it is not trying to be. Fume is a natural flavored air inhaler, and it's designed to help you replace habits, not feed them. No smoke, no vapor, no nicotine, just air infused with essential oils. So it has this really cool fidget-friendly design with magnetic parts, and it's super satisfying to use. And the flavors are actually amazing. My favorite personally is the spearmint ice, but there's a whole lineup to match your vibe, so don't worry. Over 500,000 people have already added Fume to their routine, and it's easy to see why. It's simple, it's effective, and it doesn't come with any of the baggage that other things like vaping or smoking do. So use my code BlaireWhite at tryfume.com/BlaireWhite, and you're gonna get a free Fume topper with your journey pack. This is your sign. Kick the habit gracefully. Try Fume. Thank you so much to Fume for sponsoring this episode of the podcast, and now on to the rest of the podcast. Now, is this evidence of exactly who did it? No. Is it evidence that the narrative that's coming forward from the FBI, just like the Epstein stuff, is, not necessarily the whole truth? In my opinion, absolutely. Absolutely. It's not a smoking gun, but it's a little bit of a hot gun, right? It's steaming up. It's a steamy gun. So credit to the Real Baron podcast for uncovering this. The worst part is, this has been shared by a lot of influencers and people who are ringing the alarm about this. And Google, sorry, I'm trying not to swear so much. I really am. God recently told me a few things. Tell gay and trans people they can find God and stop swearing. That's ugly. So I'm trying to work on that. I really am. I'm not trying to be funny. They freaking scrubbed it off of Google Trends. which is again about the best proof of it being something, something being up as you could ask for. Here, this person breaks it down.
This is Tyler James Robinson, the alleged shooter of Charlie Kirk, who a lot of us now know by name. But according to Google Trends, somebody, maybe multiple, in the DC metro area was searching for Tyler James Robinson one day before the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Okay, you see this big spike over here. That's on September 12th. That's when we all found out through the news who he was and started Googling his name. But this small spike on September 9th, that's kind of weird, don't you think? Now, what about the Losi Center, the building where Tyler Robinson allegedly shot Charlie Kirk from? Well, again, for some reason, a small number of people in the Washington, D.C. area was Googling Losi Center 2 days prior to Charlie Kirk's assassination, September 8th, 2025. What is that all about? Once again, this is when we all heard about it, and some group of people over here 2 days prior was, just having fun Googling Losi Center. Now, what about a Mauser 98? You've heard of that? Well, evidently there was pretty much no interest in the Mauser 98 until August 27th, when somebody, once again, in DC was like, I am curious about the Mauser 98. Once again, to reiterate, these are all just coincidences.
Now, anybody who's gonna poo-poo this and be like, oh, it's just a coincidence, I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a different explanation, because statistically, for it to be such a coincidence that all these terms that all have to do with the assassination all spiked simultaneously and together in unison from these locations, I mean, I don't know. Well, I do know. It's very, very suspicious. And it's so disappointing to me how, I didn't know there were so many government bootlickers on the right until recently. And call me naive, maybe that's the case, but I just thought there was a lot less. But I realized there is a huge fragment of people on the right that were only like distrustful of the government when the other party was in office. But now that this party's in office, somehow Kash Patel's cracked out looking face convinces them. No, it was just a guy who was dating a furry. Somehow that is like convincing to a really big swath of people on the right. See, for me, I've always been a distrust the government person as a baseline, as a foundation for all of my other thoughts about the world, for my overall ideology and my worldview. Like that was the starting point. Clearly, I'm going to trust a Democrat administration like less than a Republican one, but it's not to say that you just glaze whoever is in office on the right. You just glaze this administration. I don't know how you could be fed all that slop from the FBI, from Pam Bondi, from Kash Patel, when it came to the Epstein stuff, and then just like, but they're definitely telling us the truth for the Charlie Kirk stuff. I don't really think that. I think that there is a large amount of evidence now at this point. We've already done a video on this. There's many people, many independent journalists on the case here saying something is up with the Charlie Kirk thing. Like, why am I supposed to not remember or notice that there was a patsy on the ground when it happened? There was like an old man creating a distraction. And there's all these red flags for me when it comes to a lot of this, like, shut up out of respect for the family, shut up out of, people's feelings. Suddenly the facts don't care about your feelings. People are like, oh, no, we can't question the narrative because of the feelings of the family. And this is disrespectful. Since when is an investigation of an assassination, especially a high profile one, but any murder, since when is that seized or halted or paused out of feelings and out of respect for the family? How is it disrespectful to get to the bottom of it? Just like I said in my last video, if I'm ever off, y'all better go to the ends of the motherfucking earth. I'm really trying not to swear. We might have to put like a swear counter on this or something, but I hope y'all go to the ends of the earth and that no group or organization or government or administration is off limits for y'all when finding out who really did it. To me, it's very disrespectful, actually, to the memory of Charlie Kirk's life to be like, no, the FBI is telling the truth and that's it. It's a lot of shut up and listen to the government narrative here that I'm, again, never really saw that much of it on the right, but then I'm, realizing now, oh, they only distrusted the government because it was Democrats in office. Whereas if you're a real female dog you distrust the government regardless of who's in office, and your best bet is to vote for who you trust the most and then hold their feet to the fire. But instead, it's this like, oh, government was corrupt until this administration. What are we talking about? Mind you, all of these terms spiked a day to 2 to 3 days before the shooting. And in July, there was a huge cluster. And you know what else happened in July? This reporting by Fox 13 Salt Lake City has actually been doing some great investigative work and finally got hold of the paperwork from UVU and found out that they booked Charlie at UVU in July at the same time all these terms were spiking.
I'm Fox 13 investigative reporter Nate Carlisle. We've been asking UVU for records related to the September 10th Kirk rally. After about 6 weeks, this is the first record provided. It's the application submitted mid-July by the UVU chapter of Kirk's Turning Point USA.
So I want to be clear. I'm going to keep playing this in a second. I'm going to be clear. All of these terms, such as the doctor, plural, when it came to Charlie's body, the hospital, the gun used, the name of the alleged assassin, all of those spiked in these intelligence hotbed cities, DC, Israel, and Huntsville, at the same time that they actually booked the event for later in September. That to me is, not swearing is really harder than it sounded in my head before I started this, because I'm getting mad now. Keep playing it.
The applicants answer standard questions about time, place, and a description of the event. However, we noticed there is one question not asked on the form, whether organizers need any police protection. That's a standard inquiry at, for example, University of Utah events. Speaking of police, UVU has denied Fox 13 News' request for a copy of the Kirk Rally security plan. The university is citing a provision in state records laws keeping confidential, quote, security measures, end quote. The campus also has expressed concern that the records could interfere in any investigation and someone's right to a fair trial. Tyler Robinson is charged with Kirk's murder. Fox 13 plans an appeal of the denial, and we are still pursuing a variety of records related to the Kirk shooting. For now, in the studio, Nate Carlisle, Fox 13 News, Utah.
How would it interfere with the trial? I mean, I'm no legal expert, and that's fully admitted here, obviously, but I don't know. This whole like shut up and don't ask questions thing, it's a red flag for me. And, God forbid I honor my pattern recognition to see that this is the same motive for every other conspiracy that ends up being true. Shut up and don't ask questions, Epstein. Shut up and don't ask questions, weather modification. And now it's like you can sign up. Now weather modification, I forget what city I saw it in, is so like normal and just out there that you can sign up for it on your own farm. You can like hire a company to make it rain on your damn farm. Like everything they say isn't real. You have to go through this huge long process of like shut up and don't ask questions. And then eventually maybe it comes out. This never will, obviously. And it's like this unwillingness for people to question the narrative at all is strange to me, because are we pretending as if conspiracies when it comes to political assassinations in this country is like something like new, something rare, something unheard of? Like this whole like, you're crazy. If you look into it, crazy doesn't equal wrong. And that is what I've been saying to y'all for a minute now. Anybody who's claiming people are crazy for asking questions, crazy for putting things together, crazy for noticing things, notice how they're not saying wrong. They're just trying to smear you. Crazy does not equal incorrect. A schizo on the street could tell you the sky is blue. Are you going to not believe that because he's crazy? Is it wrong or is it right? It's just disturbing. And of course, you have all these people that are just so uninterested. So uninterested. I heard Megyn Kelly in an interview recently, and she was like, I'm going to trust the government on this. I'm not really a conspiracy person. See, that's that picking and choosing thing, first of all. Because you sure were when it came to Hunter's laptop. You sure were when it came to the Epstein stuff until they told you not to be. And it's not just about Megyn Kelly. It's not about singling her out. It's about how, when did conspiracy even become like a slur? You know, conspiracy just means an organized lie, right? I hate how everyone lately has to start their sentences with, not to be a conspiracy theorist, but hold on. Let's translate what you're saying. When you say not to be a conspiracy theorist, but what you're saying is not to believe that people can lie in an organized way. See how stupid you sound when you actually break it down? It's like people think that conspiracy is a synonym for myth or hoax or untrue. It's not, babe. Just like crazy isn't, just like insane isn't. None of those things are synonyms for wrong. Prove it wrong or don't. And if you can't, that's on you. That's on you. I am not pointing a finger and accusing anybody specific. There's a lot of people who are very low IQ conspiracy theorists, right? And the low IQ conspiracy theorists are going to post that screenshot of Erica Kirk doing the I love you in sign language and being like, look, it's the devil horns. And so people who post stuff like that, it's like, you're retarded. People who are showing, hey, there is a long list of search terms that were not being searched ever at all until right before the shooting, when no one should have known them. The statistical likelihood of that is, I don't know. I can't even find like anything else to compare that to. Impossible. And I think it matters. I feel like the hope for, you know, transparency about things from this administration, I have none anymore. I knew right away when we were a couple months in and there was not one mention of the Trump shooter back in Butler in July 24. I knew right away, like, oh, that was a Fed thing. Oh, and by the way, that jogged my memory. The same early search thing was also true of that shooter. Do you guys know that? I remember the same stuff being posted right after the Trump shooting in Butler in 24 about how there was all these terms relating to the shooting that popped up before in clusters. So, what does it mean? You tell me. But I know it definitely doesn't mean that the shooter was just some guy and because he was dating a furry and was super lived out, he killed Charlie Kirk. And I'm sorry, even when you say it out loud, it just sounds kind of dumb. It sounds like boomer slop. It sounds like something a boomer sitting on their couch at home listening to the news. Oh yeah, it was because he was a furry or something. What are we talking about? Not to, you know, provide cover for the furries, because damn, eyesore. You know what I mean? Like blight on society. However, furry doesn't equal sophisticated political assassination operation. And the only reason that might be together in your head, that those phrases might go together in your head, is because you're a boomer consuming government slop. The intelligence agencies in this country and abroad, oh no, don't say anything about Mossad, such as Mossad, have been committing organized political assassinations since before our grandparents were alive. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? It's not as if I'm sitting here saying some aliens from Zeta Reticuli came down and had a beef with Charlie Kirk and killed him and then took his body to Venus. Okay? I'm saying we have some evil intelligence agencies in this country and abroad. And they do evil things. And if that's crazy or like far out to you, I think you're just retarded. I really do. My God. It's making me mad now. Because it's like the gaslighting is too much. Pretending as if people placing some blame on government in this and or foreign governments, to pretend as if that's something just so far out and unlikely. You don't know how the world works. You shouldn't even be talking. But yeah, you get told it's a furry and it's a closed case for you. Slop. It's just a whole lot of things they don't want you to talk about. And anytime somebody tells me not to talk about something, it makes me want to say it more. Out of like a moral imperative. Because there's something important behind that thing they're saying not to say that probably has some relevance to the situation. Otherwise, they wouldn't be Because mind you, if I sat up here and theorized that aliens from Zeta Reticuli came down and did it, no one would even be telling me to shut up. They would be laughing at me, or they would be ignoring it. So if these conspiracy theories that it was some sort of intelligence hit are just so far out there, why aren't you just like laughing at it or ignoring it? Why are you so mad about it? Why are you so angry about it? I would like to know where y'all are sourcing this trust for the FBI from, because maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm missing some examples of positive transparency that have happened during this administration. Maybe I'm focusing a bit too much on like all the major lies, but it's kind of hard to give them the benefit of the doubt, in my opinion. Thank you so much to Fume for sponsoring this episode of the Blaire White Project podcast. Make sure you guys follow me on X, Instagram, TikTok, all the things, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.